please note that not every prophetic message that I share on this channel is meant for everybody. So it's important that you have a relationship with the Holy Spirit and take it back to him and ask him to give you the confirmation that you need before you run with the message. And for some of you, I know that this is going to be a confirming message because the Lord has already been speaking to you about this. And if that's the case and you have any questions, please make sure to take all those questions back to him because he will have the answers for you. Hi friends, it's Queen Alita. Welcome back to Directional Dreaming. I have a prophetic message today to share with you guys based on a dream that I had on March 3rd. And I'm actually going to share with you a portion of the dream. The Lord gave me interpretation for this particular part of the dream. And yeah, I know it's going to bless somebody. So in this part of the dream, I was walking up New Road. I almost said New Avenue. Is it New Avenue or is it New Road? New Avenue, sorry. New Road is somewhere else. This is a place that I know, okay? It's like on the way to my parents' house, so New Avenue. And I was walking with John Paul Jackson now, or rather he was walking with me. Now, if you don't know who John Paul Jackson is, this is someone who used to teach on dream interpretation from a Christian perspective, and he has passed away. He passed away, I think, back in 2017 or 2015. I'm not quite sure, but I discovered his videos, his content, his teachings, his courses after he had passed away. But I always saw him as like somebody who was just a fatherly figure to me because I learned so much from him, from the content that he left behind. And before I actually discovered John Paul Jackson, the Lord was leading me in understanding my dreams. So there's a link there. And why I say that is because of the interpretation of the dream. The Holy Spirit was teaching me how to understand dreams by showing me this is the dream that you had and look at how the situation played out in real life. So I was piecing together the dreams, and then he led me to John Paul Jackson's content, which was just even more it opened up a whole world for me, right? So he was walking with me in the dream, and he had this large board, and it was showing a dream that I had. This dream was very short. It was like this one scene, and in that scene I was pushing a wheelchair, and I was also in the wheelchair at the same time, but it was moving fast and it felt like it was out of control. And that was the scene, or at least that was the dream. So he was giving me the interpretation to that dream. And he started off by saying, as he was speaking, he was kind of like peeling this image off of this board. It was a very large board, like I said, and he was starting to peel it off. And as he was peeling it off, it was obviously going in a downward motion. And then he started to speak about that. And he said, this means that there's something that's going down that seems to be going in like a downward direction. And I knew that he meant it wasn't going well. It's not going the way that it's supposed to be. And I remember just being like, why? I don't like this. I don't like what he's saying, and I don't want to agree with what he's saying because I just wanted to hear good news, right? And there was also an assistant with us. It was John Paul Jackson's assistant who seemed to be walking behind me. He was very quiet. He never said anything throughout the dream. Came across very like focused and businesslike and cold. He wasn't cold, maybe a strong word, but he wasn't interactive, and he just seemed to be on this mission. And you know, he was even like carrying a bag and almost like a chart or something that he was writing stuff on. So he was about the business that he was about, right? So then John Paul started to explain to me about the scene with the wheelchair situation, and he started saying something. He was explaining it to me, and I understood it to mean that you should be at a certain point by now. And that was like a negative way that I was viewing it. It felt like God was chastising me and saying, you should be at a certain point by now. You should understand what's going on. And then he stopped me. He said, no, not at all. Like, God's full of grace. That's not it at all. What it is that you already know. You already know what this is about. You've already been taught the lessons. You've gone through the training. You know what this is about. So don't panic. Don't worry about it, right? And that's the portion that the Lord wanted me to share in the dream. Because he walked me all the way to my parents' house, and then that was a whole other scene that unfolded. He was no longer in that scene to an extent. But this dream just blew me away because I've never dreamt about John Paul Jackson. And I used to I remember I'd watch video after video, and I would try and get as many courses that I could afford when they were a lot more affordable. And also there was a time when there were a lot more videos, or there was a lot more content online of John Paul Jackson's. But I believe that the ministry that he worked for or was a part of, they've obviously taken down a lot of stuff and, packaged it to sell courses or whatever. But I'm just really grateful that I caught it at a time when most of it was free. So I learned so much from John Paul Jackson. There was even a video that he did that spoke about the Father's blessing. And I just remember watching that video. And at the end, he prayed. He was like, for those of you whose father has passed away, or you don't have a good relationship with your father, you know that you're not going to get this blessing. I will pray for you now and give you this blessing. That was one of the most profound experiences I had. I felt the Holy Spirit. I felt like God was in the room with me. And that prayer just blessed me so much. So he always was like a father to me in a sense. So why I mentioned that is that in the dream, he represents God. And what the Lord was showing me is that there is a situation that's coming up for you, or that you may be currently going through, that seems like it's out of control, like it's out of your control. But really, you can control what's going on by how you react to the situation. So, like I said, I was pushing that wheelchair, and I was also in the wheelchair, and it was moving fast. And what God was saying to me is that this situation is going to go by quickly. It's not going to be an exciting experience. In fact, it will feel like something is going really bad in your life. Something is being taken. It's being lessened. The way he kept speaking about it's going down. I knew in the dream that he meant like there was like a lessening, like something was being taken away, or it was not going well. And I really struggled to receive that. And whoever this message is for, it may be hard for you to receive the fact that something is not going to go well, or you will experience a difficult time, because we really just want to get on with being blessed, and just we don't want to go through the hard times, right? I mean, we should consider it all joy when we're faced with all these trials, right? But it's not always that easy. So there may be a bit of resistance, but God is saying this is going to go by very quickly. There is something that I forgot to share that happened in the dream as well. I was pouring honey onto that board as he was like explaining the dream and peeling it off. When he started to explain the second piece, the piece about the wheelchair, and how this is something that you already know about, and you've been trained up, you know what's going on, you already have insight into how to deal with this. I was pouring honey over it, and the symbolism of the honey really speaks of like abundance and blessing, because we see in Exodus, I forget which chapter, but I mean they speak about it a few times in Exodus, where the Bible talks about a land flowing with milk and honey, referring to the promised land, referring to the blessings and the prosperity and the abundance in the promised land. So God is taking you down a new avenue, and in order for you to come into the newness of where he's taking you, you're going to have to overcome this thing that you're already trained up for. You already know what to do. It doesn't have to feel like it's out of your control. It doesn't have to feel like this is just happening and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. In the dream, I was pushing the wheelchair. I was in the wheelchair. I could have calmed down and just gone through it quickly because it was moving fast, but I was like panicking. And the Lord is saying it's going to go by quickly. And also, the fact that I was the one pouring the honey, he is allowing us to be a part of the making of this blessing, to be able to see that this abundance will come through our own hands from the Lord through us, right? And that we don't have to feel like, okay, this is all out of our hands and God is just going to have to make this happen. The Lord wants you to be part of making it happen. It could be in the form of you doing something with your hands, or the work of your hands, or just being involved in an abundant flow coming into your life, right? So the assistant, he represents an angel. I've always noticed that in dreams where God is showing me an angelic being, they tend to be very focused, very businesslike, very much interested in the task at hand. They're not there to play games or to laugh and smile and whatever. So I knew that this was an angel. Well, the Lord was showing me that this is an angel that is assigned to you, okay, in this particular time. And this angel is obviously equipped, and God is also with you through this. And like I said, it's going to go by quickly. You just have to gain composure and know that there is a part for you to play. God is giving you some level of control. There's a godly control that he's giving you in this situation, where you can be a part of seeing this abundance come into your life, and for you to flourish beyond that point where you're going through that difficulty. So that's the message for today. I really pray that it's blessed you. If it's for you, and I will put up the scriptures that the Lord gave me for this particular message at the end of the video. So yeah, until next time, always remember that God is a good Father. He loves you so much because you, my friend, are so deeply special to him.
Count it all joy when you fall into various trials, for faith builds your patience if you just hold on for a while. Greater is he who is in you, for he is the truth. Your clay in his hands, and his promise will make you brand new. Looking around, don't wonder why now God would not let you drown. He knows it's to him that you bow, as tears fill your